Welcome to the Rotary Times Show, a public service program presented by Rotary District 7610, Virginia. Funding for this program is made possible by the generosity of Rotary District 7610, Virginia. On our programs, we talk with Rotarians and community leaders and discuss Rotary International and how it helps local, national, and world communities. I am your host, Rotarian Dr. Deborah Jackson with the Rotary Club of McLean, Virginia, and along with me as co-host is Rotarian Jim Holcomb Jr. with the Rotary Club of Bailey's Crossroads, Virginia. Our guest for the program is Rotarian or past District Governor Travis White from the Rotary Club of West Springfield, Virginia. Rotarian Travis, welcome to the Rotary Times Show.
Thank you, Deborah.
Yeah. Today we want to learn about you and your involvement with the Rotary Leadership Institute. I understand that they're doing some amazing work throughout the country, really, with RLI, so we're excited to learn more about what's going on right here at home. So if you're ready, we're ready.
Okay.
All righty. So let's get started. Tell us about your professional background. Who is Travis White?
Well, I was raised in the state of Tennessee and went to college in that state.
Okay.
Studied music education expecting to be a high school band director.
All right.
But I entered through the ROTC program, was commissioned out of college, entered the Army, and never left for 28 years.
Wonderful.
So,
what a commitment of service. Thank you.
Thank you. In the Army, I served with a number of staff and tactical units. I spent a good deal of time teaching. Highlight was 4 years teaching to command the General Staff College at Leavenworth. But then after 28 years, I retired. I opened an insurance agency with one of the major multi-line insurance companies and ran that for 24 years. And about 4 years ago, I sold it. Since then, I've been fully occupied with Rotary and with, I'm the director of a small nonprofit operation out in western Fairfax County, which provides transportation, medical transportation for the elderly who can't drive for themselves.
That's a full life, and RLI.
And RLI,
That's right. Now, what we're going to go to next is, you were the first district governor that I ever met, so I'd like to know, how did you become a Rotarian and when did that start?
Well, when I retired from the Army, I was missing something. You know, you're in an organization where you're
Camaraderie.
Yeah, camaraderie, you're a close-knit group of people, and it didn't exist when I was out there in my little agency,
right.
Insurance agency. And I went looking for something. A friend of mine said, why don't you come with me to a Rotary Club? I'm visiting the Burke Rotary Club. He wasn't even a member.
That's right.
So he took me to a club meeting one day. A very good friend was my greeter that day, John Allen.
Oh, yeah.
And we're still in the same club and been best friends ever since. I found my home, and there I am.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I hear you say, I found my home.
Yeah.
Because that's what Rotary clubs are. They're homes in small communities, you know, around the world. So it's great
hearing you say that. Still in the same club together.
And that's what I said, he's still there, growing up there, right?
Well, yes. Well, that club unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, but John and I moved to another club together.
Gotcha, gotcha.
They got better for it.
Yes.
Yes. What has been your guiding commitment to Rotary, you think?
The thing that I put most into is the Rotary Foundation. It does so many wonderful things throughout the world, and as soon as I got a chance to get active in that, I found that was my focus for everything I wanted to do with Rotary. Well, that's not true. Not everything I wanted to do, but the major part of what I wanted to do is work within the Rotary Foundation. And I've served on the Rotary Foundation committee for 20 years or so.
Oh, my goodness.
In one capacity or another, and still do to this day.
And your title is?
Right now, I hold the title of stewardship chair.
Pretty good, huh?
Okay, it is.
That just means I have to watch out for how we spend our money and how we
That's
take
right.
care of it.
That's very important. That's very important. Just a quick note on the foundation. What are some of the things that the foundation funds?
Good question.
We do things locally and internationally. Internationally, we work on grants for countries and people that need help that can't provide it for themselves.
Gotcha.
For example, we've got one grant, one team of 15 clubs in our district that work together providing water sources in Zambia.
That's right.
And they've done
We're
about
involved in
50 projects there,
Yes.
creating wells and sanitation facilities and latrines. And we do international scholarships,
Yes.
send graduate students overseas to study. It's usually something related to peace and conflict resolution or something that will help make the world better.
Yes?
We do local grants. Each club is given some money each year out of the foundation to apply to something that's important to them.
That's right.
Well, there are thousands of things we
Things that
do,
you-
but
Yeah. I just thought our viewing audience would love to hear about some of the things that the foundation does. So thank you, for sharing that piece of it as well. Okay.
So you were district governor. For our audience, maybe some future Rotarian, what are some of the steps? What are some of the roles you have to take, or do you choose to take to get there?
well, I joined Rotary in 1992. 2 years later, in my second full year, I was secretary of my club. Third year, I was president of the club.
Baptism by fire.
Yes, and shortly after that, I became a governor's representative, which was a function we don't have in that role anymore, but it transitioned into something we do now have, which is assistant governor. I held that role for 5 years, which means I was the interface between the district governor and, in my case, five of his clubs. I started with the foundation while I was in that role. I was a polio fundraiser for a year, and we raised a substantial amount of money in support of that program. Then I was the annual giving officer for 3 years. Then I was the governor.
Yeah.
And after serving that term as governor, I immediately became the chair of the Rotary Foundation Committee. And as I said earlier, I've stayed with that ever since. But what do you do to build up to being governor? Well, you get involved at the district. You do things that contribute to making the district work better.
Place.
And the assistant governor role is kind of important. We like
It's a stepping stone.
it is a stepping stone, yes.
And that takes me to the Rotary Leadership Institute. What are the origins of that? How was it created? How was it established? When? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Rotary Leadership Institute was created by a single zone up in the Northeast United States. And they operated on their own under the title Rotary Leadership Institute, and their principal function was leadership training for future leaders
Yes.
coming up through their system.
And you would understand that because you've held many of those roles.
Yeah, but we kind of transitioned from that a little bit too, and
Okay.
I'll go into that in a bit. In 2004, we created an executive committee in our zone, Zone 33, to investigate the idea of establishing a Rotary Leadership Institute program here in our zone, and at that time the 13 districts that were in the zone. And we did. 2005, we started actively running Rotary Leadership Institute classes. We've kind of evolved from that. I mean, it's not a leadership academy as you might expect so much as we're an institution that tries to help Rotarians find their passion in Rotary
That's wonderful.
and to find ways to take things back to their club, they'll make their club better by sharing with
I
people
was
from
going to say
other
seminar
clubs.
sharing rather than.
Yeah. So it's grown, it's changed its emphasis a little bit. We're now one of 14 clubs in the zone.
In our zone.
Our RLI, which was originally RLI 33 for Zone 33, now been renamed Mid-Atlantic RLI, was the second RLI zone. It's now pretty much all over the world, just since we started in 2005.
Now, I've been to some of the operations in Maryland and Virginia. Tell us a little specifically about Virginia, since that's where we are.
Well, we run.
Some of the locations.
Yeah, I was about to say, in the district, the zone, the Mid-Atlantic, we've got like 39 scheduled events during this year, but the fall of 2019 and the spring of 2020. And they're all over. We'll run in our 7610 district, we'll have at least 2 events there. One we just had in Fredericksburg recently, and we have one in Annandale in the spring. And then throughout the rest of Virginia, there will be probably 6 or 7 additional events, but they're scattered around. We're responsible for not only Virginia, but our districts in Virginia have clubs in Tennessee.
Okay.
And we want to make the events convenient to the Rotarians. That's the only way we're going to get them out. You know, they won't come to North Carolina to go to some of the events that we have
Proximity is
down there.
important, sure.
Yeah. So we want to have events where the Rotarians will come, and but we want Rotarians from a wide area to come too.
Representative.
Yeah, representatives, so that we can share ideas with.
And you also have specific ones that do the training for instructors.
Well, true. We have, since we started, we've trained 130 facilitators.
Wow.
This is 10 years from, I'll cap it at 10 years because I don't have figures before that. Between 2018 and 2008, we trained 130 facilitators that are, most of whom are all still active.
Wonderful.
When we have an event, we'll use 8 or 10, or 8 or 9 of them probably, because we do it in small groups, and each facilitator will have maybe 12, 15, sometimes smaller. We'd like to have about a dozen students in the class. But we like them to be skilled in leading small group discussion. We don't lecture. That's not our intent. We do it by getting the students to share with each other the ideas that they have. They'll remember it better than if we tell it.
That's right. All the answers are right in the room, right? We're going to take a short break and be right back and talk more with Rotarian Travis White about the Rotary Leadership Institute. So please stay with us.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved at Rotary.org.
Welcome back to the Rotary Times Show. We're talking with Rotarian Travis White about the Rotary Leadership Institute. Past Governor White, talk to us more about the Institute. we have said many organizations, at least in my head initially, I was thinking about an induction program. But you are also talking about something very, very different in terms of the Leadership Institute. So why would you need that for Rotarians who are many already managers in their own right?
Well, our focus is on Rotary. And some believe we may be misnamed, calling ourselves a Leadership Institute. We're not a Leadership Academy. We are a Rotary organization, and our goal is to build passion for Rotary with Rotarians, and to share Rotary ideas among Rotarians that'll be different from the not entirely, but somewhat different from what they experience in business.
Yep.
Leadership's still there; it's still a requirement, but in management and public relations and all of the things they did in business. But we want it with a Rotary focus.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about particulars? As I recall, there's 3 different components, and they're all addressing different levels of skills.
Well, the 3 parts of Rotary, and we call them Part 1, 2, and 3, which is not too innovative, but they're designed to be taken in sequence. You've got to have 1 before you can be accepted, and 2, and so forth. And they're done you can't do it all in one day. You've got to do it on different weeks, different times. And the purpose is the focus is this way. Part 1 is focused on Rotary, the Rotarian. Part 2 on the club. Part 3 on my Rotary journey, that is Rotary beyond the club. And our curriculum is spiral. We have 3 spirals. That's leadership, service, and membership.
Gotcha.
And each one of the 3 parts takes elements of those spiraled classes as built into their curriculum. And at the end of the third session, we present a graduation certificate and a pin that says you are an RLI graduate, and we recruit the best speakers to be facilitators.
Wonderful.
We try to anyway.
Well, congratulations, Jim. I understand you are a graduate of RLI.
They always have to have one exception.
Well, I had the pleasure of penning Jim.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes. So, how has the program grown over the years? In other words, what are some of the number of participants that you have, that have graduated or have become instructors?
Well, I already mentioned 130 we've trained in the last 10 years. We have, in that same period of time, produced about 8,200 students. Maybe 12, 13% of that has gone on to complete the whole program and graduate. That's a iffy figure. The 8,200 is firm, I know that.
Okay.
And I know the 130, but don't have hard figures on the graduate. It's available, I just don't have them in hand.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people who have not gone through Part 3 will still go through it yet. They're just in the middle. So we'll graduate more of them before we get through.
You got it. Is there a time frame that you have to complete it within?
No, it isn't. They can do it at their own pace. We have people that in Northern Virginia that go when we do the Fairfax or Annandale. They'll do that once every year. For 3 years they'll do it.
Because of proximity or whatever?
Yeah, because it's convenient for them. And
I skipped 3 years before I went.
Yeah, I know. And you don't have to, as long as we can prove that you've had Part 1, we'll get you in Part 2.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And but they do it at their own pace. We don't want to rush them, but we want them to finish.
You want them to finish. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Finish, yeah.
And now somehow you're going to get linked with CPETS, which is the Chesapeake for President-elects.
That is the training program for next year's president.
That's right.
There's no formal relationship, but we got people who are good at facilitating small groups. And the PETS people really realize that. I served on that PETS committee for the last 14 years too.
I remember
so.
that, sure,
But
when I was PI.
the idea is we got good people who can handle small group discussions, and that's the mode that we use in pets as well. So we'll use the best we have to do the best training we can.
I'm sure it'll be very successful.
That's one way, to give back to, you build their capacity to be able to give back to see pets or anything else, that you might have that needs that kind of skill set. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful. When you think about the training, how much training is involved for the facilitators?
Well, we have initial training that just lasts a day for them, but we require that they requalify periodically. And
Gotcha.
we do facilitator training several times during the course of the year in conjunction with some of the other events. And we also monitor performance. We do some peer evaluation, and we have evaluations from the students as well that help us decide who the best ones are and capitalize on their skills.
So I like that because you're really ensuring that the facilitators keep their skill sets fresh, new, and up to where it needs to be, so that you run a quality program when they are in those classes with students.
And you gave me a
excellent.
compliment. We need to recognize Deborah Jackson. She's the trainer for the district.
Well,
That's why the question about pets
That's
was
right.
in there, I know.
well, you got to use what you got to use, right? Yeah, but pets is very exciting, and our viewing audience may not know that it is our form of professional learning for those leaders. So when it begins, what is the desired result that you hope will happen in the end? Other than they walk away, you want them walking away with?
I want them walking away with a passion for Rotary that may be stronger than what they walked in with. I want them walking away with some thoughts, some ideas that they picked up from the people that they were with in the class that they hadn't thought about before. They can take back to their club and make their club a stronger club. And if we do that, we've accomplished our mission.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we ask them to always do at the end of every class, remember at least one thing out of this class that you're going to take with you. In fact, my technique is that's the last thing I ask them to do. Tell me what you're going to take back.
That's right. Well, I think passion is not just RLI. That's something that all the clubs should initiate
Oh,
as a
absolutely.
core.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we hope will infect all of us. These folks that attend RLI, if they have that passion, they will convey that to the others that haven't done that, and hope they'll bring other people into the program as well.
That will contribute to the growth of Rotary.
Yes.
Because when we see it, if we feel it, we touch it, those are the things that make a difference for all of us, I think, and brings more people into the family.
Well, we'd like to see clubs get excited about sending people to RLI. I'd like to see presidents who are going to be presidents come to RLI before they do that.
That's a good idea.
Some districts strongly urge them to do it.
Okay.
Some districts pay part of the tuition to get because there is a cost of running
And we
the
do.
program,
that. I
but
didn't know.
it
That's good to
essentially
know.
covers the cost of printing and the meals.
What is the cost for attending an RLI?
The session is $95.
Okay.
Our district pays, I think, $50 of it.
Right.
We have a program called 4 in 1, where if your club sends 4 people to RLI, we'll refund you the tuition for the 4th one.
Now, see, you got to get that message out there.
Well,
I'm
then-
not sure clubs know that.
So how do you do the marketing? I see your ads on the website. You have subsidized costs. What are some of the marketing for RLI?
We have brochures that are circulated to all the clubs. We have someone will be at Pets talking to to the presidents-elect
Yeah.
to advertise our wares, if you will, and encourage them to bring people to us. We have a website, rli33.org.
Okay.
There's a lot of good information on that.
And you're the quintessential.
Well, thank you.
Yes, yes. Well, we know if we have you out there, we'll have those members coming to participate. So, in fact, we do want to thank you. But before we close out this particular segment, how do you suggest that Rotary clubs and Rotarians get involved with RLI? I mean, other than word of mouth, is there anything else we could be doing as club presidents?
That's essentially what I was just saying.
Okay.
The district governor gives us a lot of emphasis. He
That's right.
Okay.
puts a lot of emphasis
That's
on
important.
the
That's
attendance.
important. So,
And the people who seek to progress through the structure
Or
of the
ambassadors.
district to leadership roles, we are strongly encouraged to get involved in RLI. And if they do, they will encourage others to do it
others
as
to do
well.
it too. There you go. There you go. Well, we want to thank you for today, and we hope you'll come back and join us and tell us more about RLI. Okay.
Thank you.
Funding for this program is made possible by the generosity of Rotary District 7610, Virginia. For the Rotary Times program, I am your host, Rotarian Dr. Deborah Jackson with the Rotary Club of McLean, Virginia. And along with me as co-host is Rotarian Jim Holcomb Jr. with the Rotary Club of Bailey's Crossroads, Virginia. You're welcome to join us at a Rotary Club in your area, either for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You can find a Rotary Club near you by looking us up on the internet. Remember, our time is your time, and it's always time well spent. Please join us for our next program as we continue to celebrate Rotary's 114 years of service above self.